guys, John Faulkner here. Joined with me today.
Go Angry American.
Back from...
Not back yet. I'm not back yet.
50%?
I'm over 50%, but I'm not 100%.
Okay.
It's been better.
Chris has had a back issue that he's
pinched a nerve. This is a new one for me. That's, I mean, a lot of people get on my nerves, but this is different.
Yeah.
This is way different.
Most of those are a pain in the butt. This is a pain in his back.
Yeah.
So, but Chris is up here today, and we got a ton of people, that'll be joining us, I'm sure, as we move on here. Brad, Tammy, how are you guys doing today?
We got new technology. We can actually see. When you guys are commenting now, we can see stuff. So pop in, say something. We can.
All right. So today we are going to do a Q&A, live questions.
Casey called her. Hi.
Live questions, ask them below, and we'll answer them as we go. We already have a pretty big queue, so we'll move kind of fast here. So we're just going to dive right into it. But if you guys got any questions, feel free, leave them below. We'll make sure we get to them as we move, and the teleprompter tells us what to say. So, I mean, that's kind of how we do it around here.
So we're going to read it just like this. And
So, all right, so diving right into it here, the first question comes from Rob. If someone was brand new to prepping, what 5 skills would you say they should learn first?
Well, I mean, it depends on what your idea of prepping is. Are you looking at survival, bushcraft kind of skills, or prepping? If you're into prepping, or even survival, it's the same basic stuff. Food, water, fire, shelter, security, medical. Those are kind of your topics. Food and water need to be everybody's priority. You need to start there because without those, you can't do anything else. Yep. So I would say start with food and water, especially storing, start building that up.
Yeah, if I had to put it to a single skill, we'll go over those 5 topics, but a single skill with regard to food and water, make sure you know how to purify water in multiple different ways, know how to store water efficiently, or store food efficiently in multiple ways. So, that could be just packaging beans and rice. That could be, figuring out how to extend the life of prepackaged
or
food.
even doing the copy canning things. The easy way to get started. You don't have to run out and buy Mountain House and freeze dried and all this crazy stuff. You can do a lot of your prepping right from the grocery store. But learning how, like John said, to store that stuff properly. Get some Mylar bags, some O2 absorbers. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. Hell, we've done some here, I think, even on storing food. So food is number one. Well, and water is very important.
And then as far as fire goes, know multiple different ways to get a fire started.
Absolutely.
We're turning cell phones off here.
I'm turning my volume off just in case because I didn't do it.
So, multiple ways of starting fire.
And that's a big skill too. Yeah. People think in conventional prepping, well, I'm not doing the bushcraft thing. Fire's not there. Yeah, fire's going to be important because if your electric range goes off or the gas runs out, how are you going to cook? You better be able to know how to start a fire. Yeah. So very important. Shelter, obviously, you should have covered because you're in your home, right? We have a shelter, but have alternative plans. Know how to put up a basic shelter. That can be the family weekend camping tent. That's a perfect shelter. But learn some alternatives, tarps, that sort of thing. And then medical skills. Another one that I think everybody needs to have is some basic first aid. Go take a Red Cross course.
Take a Red Cross class, take a CPR class, take a trauma class that's usually offered at most gun ranges. Those types of places will be able to offer those classes. Make sure you take trauma classes because those can end all of your other prepping needs real quick.
And store too, just like storing food and water, store the supplies. I got a good friend of mine was up in a tree doing a little side job, hit himself with a chainsaw, right here. And he's recovering, but he's got internal stitches. He had external stitches, and the wound covering, all the care of that. It was kind of weird to see the process. I mean, I've seen it many times, but internal stitches is something no one thinks about. Absorbable stitches. He had muscles cut inside that had to be sewed together. In a post-collapse or post-disaster, you're probably not going to pull that off, and you're going to be reduced to just taking care of that wound to prevent infection and hopefully losing a limb. But you need the supplies to do that with. You need gauze, you need packing, you need sterile stuff to clean it with, like alcohol, peroxide, and betadine. Sterile saline, but you can boil water, mix it with the betadine, make the washes. But put that stuff away as well. Yeah. It's just as important as food and water, really.
So, we'll kind of leave it there. I know that's a huge topic, and maybe we'll do a long podcast style video on it. So, but, those are kind of things that can get you started that will definitely help. So, all right, next question. Brad.
Season 6 alone tonight. Yeah, I'll be watching. I love that show. Kind of a jaded, I guess you could say I am. So, whatever. You weren't there. So
I wasn't there. All right, Eric asks, what company would you recommend for a backup manual pump for a well? So if you're on if you have a well, not city water, a well, If the power goes out, that means your pump is no longer getting pressurized, which means you no longer have water running to your house. So you can put a manual pump on it, which will aerate.
Well,
Would that be the right word?
Well,
pressurize.
You can.
Yeah.
But Buffalo Pumps makes one of the best pumps on the market. They're stainless steel. They're expensive, but they're like bar none, hands down, one of the best pumps. But really what you're going to do is you're going to drop that drop pipe down that well, put the hand pump on it, and you're going to be toting water from the backyard, really. Yeah. Trying to pressurize your pressure tank with that would be kind of a non-starter.
But they have some.
They have some that'll do it.
Have some that'll do it.
They do have some, but think about how often you're going to be out there doing that.
Yeah, but at least you could get water flowing.
You can get water flow. Well, but there's other ways to do it. I have a video on my YouTube page where I use a 12-volt on-demand pump to pressurize my house.
And what he means is like a 12-volt pump, like you'd see maybe in an RV or something.
When you turn your faucet on in your RV and the water flows, one of those same pumps, I have a video where I use a 55-gallon drum. So let's say the water goes out, you mount your Buffalo pump, you can pump it into a 55-gallon drum. You've got a 12-volt car battery sitting there with the pump. You hook it up, and you just run a hose to a hose bib on the outside of your house and open that up. And now you're basically backfeeding your house with water pressure. Same thing, your toilets will work. Everything will function in the house just like it normally would. Yeah. Throw a little solar panel and a charge controller out there, and it's maintenance-free, hands-off. Only thing you have to do is go out there and pump that thing every now and then to fill the drum back up.
So hope that one answers your question there, Eric. All right, Brian asks, what is your one most important piece of EDC gear?
My knife.
Knife?
My knife. For me, my knife.
I'll go different. I'll go flashlight, just due to the fact that it can be utilized in a survival, or not in a survival, in a survival situation, because you can signal with it. In a self-defense situation, because you can use it to blind somebody if you need to get away, and then you can use it as an everyday kind of thing.
I can't get through the day without this.
Yeah, I mean, I utilize both also.
I'm carrying them both. I'm carrying my O-Light today. I don't have my Surefire with me. I had my O-Light in my pocket today and my knife.
And before you guys ask, Surefire, Stiletto, I'm running the Emerson Knives Scallywag for a knife.
Yeah, and this is the Benchmade. Can you read it?
No, that doesn't say what it is. That's the middle.
It's just Benchmade.
I don't know, Benchmade.
But it's one of their automatics.
One of their automatics.
So this is a Benchmade, and this is the O-Light Striker. Great light, in my opinion.
So
I carry this, or I carry a Surefire Tactician, generally.
So follow-up question, how's the Stiletto, I knew this was going to happen, that's why I said, how's the Stiletto holding up? Is it still your EDC light? So yeah, I carry it most days. I love it. I recharge it quite a bit. It goes for a week or two. And I use this thing on a pretty semi-normal basis. Just looking for stuff and going to get the trash, taking the kid out for a walk at night, things like that. So I utilize it quite a bit. I have not had one issue with the pocket clip. It's got a real beefy pocket clip on it. I've had no issues with the fact that it's plastic. Has it cracked or anything like that? And I'm pretty hard on it. So as far as right now, listen, when the Stiletto came out, I was like, this is the dumbest thing.
I remember we were sitting in your office talking about it.
And I love Surefire lights. I have the EB1, EB2, E2B, E1B,
R2D2,
the Tactician. I carry them all. And when the Stiletto came out, I was like, there is no need for this light. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to fit into my EDC rotation.
And now he carries it every day.
We had one come into our gun shop, so I was like, oh, just let me mess with it, and I loved it. Yep. I can't wait for the Stiletto Pro to come out.
Yeah, so, that's the one I'm going to look at. I'm waiting for that to see. Because I like to get one from Mel. It would fit nicer in her pocket, that light that you're toting, instead of, because she carries a Tactician.
Next question, you're reading this. Can you read that?
Yeah, it says, Aaron says, what is the one thing you cannot go without in a SHTF? Same thing as everything. It's water. Guaranteed, absolutely. You need two things to sustain life. You need food, you need water. Without either one of those, nothing else matters. And water is more important than food because it will kill you faster. And depending on where you are, we could even caveat that and say it's shelter. If you're in an extreme cold or extreme hot environment, shelter may be the most important thing. But hands down, water, we're 75% water. We have to have it. Water's critical. It's not sexy, it's not fun, it's not knives and flashlights and guns, but having a source of water and a way to purify that water, hands down, bar none, most important thing for me.
All right, so following on the water.
Right here in water, it says, Eric says, I'm storing water in the 7-gallon water jugs. Do I need to add anything to the water to keep it fresh? Nope. If it's clean when it went in, Keep it in a dark place.
Yep.
Don't let light get to it. Light grows algae. If you've got the stuff stored in the garage or a closet, you're fine.
You can use an oxidizer.
Yeah, if you want to throw an oxidizer tab or aqua pure tabs in there, you can. But I stored water in 55-gallon drums, blue drums, outside for over a year in my pole barn, and that water's fine. It didn't grow anything.
Yeah.
It was perfectly usable. I rotate it once a year.
And it is one of those things, if we are talking, say, an SHTF situation or anything like that, even if it did have a smidge of mold in it, as long as you have a way to purify water.
Well, it's going to have algae. It's not going to have mold. It's going to have algae.
Sorry, algae.
And
you'll be able to pump that out, clean it out.
Yeah, you can filter that out, and it's no big deal. You can still use that water. So even if it does turn green, I mean, as long as it's not like pea soup green, like you didn't treat the pool for 2 weeks in the summertime, you don't want that. But if you have a quality pump, anything from a life straw up, it's going to get that out. You can still drink that water.
So keep it simple there. Let's see, Jared wants to know, cover heat-stable food options to keep in vehicles, especially during the summer months. I know we've done a video.
We have, and there's only a few options.
Yeah.
MREs don't last in that environment. I mean, you can do it, if you want to throw MREs in the vehicle for the summertime, and have them, but when the summer's over, you pretty much need to get rid of those and buy new ones. The most stable thing is going to be freeze-dried, dehydrated.
Yep.
It will last, and yeah, you got to have water and you got to do some cooking preparation, but it'll work. You can also throw things like granola bars and stuff like that in there, but again, the heat's going to break down the sugars. They're going to get sticky. They're going to kind of melt. So it's really freeze-dried, dehydrated foods.
Yeah, I say freeze-dried, dehydrated food, and when you store it in a vehicle, store it with the amount of water that's needed in order to cook it.
Yep.
Even duct tape them together if you have to.
Throw a case of water bottles back there.
Yeah, and it could be one of those things where literally I've taken, say, like a Mountain House, and take a 20-ounce bottle of water and put it on it and just duct tape around it, because then I know no matter what, they go together. I mean, that's the one advantage of an MRE over freeze-dried food. It doesn't need water. So the only thing that a freeze-dried or a dehydrated meal is missing is the water. So as long as you keep those together, I try to keep them separate. Like I keep water in my vehicle, but that's drinking water.
Right.
Because I don't want to get to the point where for some reason the kid was thirsty or I was thirsty or we went outside or Chris and I did hiking or something, I have water, and then we need food and we have no water for it.
Well, and bear in mind too, for your freeze-dried dehydrated stuff, water, I mean, any water source will provide that. You're going to have to boil that water anyway.
Yeah.
So you're going to purify it in advance to then prepare your food with. So you can really use an open water source for that. Just make sure you bring it to a rolling boil at lower altitudes, and if you're in higher altitudes, boil it for 2 minutes and you're fine. So.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, this is one that's actually something that I have to do all the time. But it's Edward's asking, how do you manage the life cycle of your med kits? Things expire, some things fall out of spec, and there's so many different pieces of kit. Yeah. That's just a maintenance thing, especially like I have a CLS bag I carry in my truck. It goes everywhere I go. Pocket kits that we have, John and I both carry them. Wear and tear is probably the biggest problem.
Yeah.
That stuff just in there rubbing and banging around. Packaging degrades. You just got to go through it. I don't throw it away.
No.
I put it in a box in a closet. I'll still use it if I have to, but I'll replace it with fresh stuff.
All right, I tried to break this down into 2 categories. Number 1 is the items that contain a mechanical movement to them. So you take like a cat tourniquet. Yeah. If I just get to the point where like, dude, it's starting to get frayed, it's starting to get worn out to where if I had to crank that thing down, it could break.
Yeah.
I consider that in the mechanical category, and I just watch those.
Well,
but things like a pressure dressing that could be, because I carry an ankle rig, so like a gauze,
Israeli
chest
bandages,
seals, Israeli bandage, stuff like that, where, hey, I don't really want the packaging to get destroyed, because once the packaging gets destroyed, it's no longer sterile, things like that. So when I start to see wear on that kind of stuff, I'll take it out of my kit and I'll place it in my longer term storage medical stuff, because it's still fine. It's not past its expiration date, and not medical advice. Gauze and stuff will last past an expiration date.
Yeah.
But when I start to see a little bit of wear that's past like the labeling and stuff, I'll take it out. I'll put it in my long-term med kit. So I kind of break it into 2 categories.
Well, there's one more category.
I'll go for it.
There is one more category. You're talking dry goods.
Yeah.
Wet goods. So in medical kits, we always have, antibiotic ointments, little packages sometimes, alcohol wipes, betadine wipes, all that sort of stuff. Those things you really need to keep an eye on when they're in your kits, because we tend to forget about them, and they don't last terribly long, really. Those little foil packages and whatnot, the stuff will go dry inside of them, or you'll have a package rupture, like a package of triple antibiotic ointment will break open inside your kit. So those things need to be looked at more often. I keep all the wet goods in my kits in a bag together so that they're all in there and not scattered around my kit. But those things need more attention. Your dry goods, keep the packaging intact, leave it there forever. As long as the bags aren't busted open, you're fine. Wet goods, they do need to be looked at a little more often.
So yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question. But that's how we break it down into different sections, and it kind of makes it easier. Because it's one of those things where you can't just like on your birthday throw everything out of your EDC kit, add new. There's no reason. All right. Will wants to know, what is the key to not panicking in a survival situation?
Well, that depends. Really, it's come down to mindset though. Because you're going to panic in your head, so that's where it's all going to start. It all depends on how you approach the situation and how you handle things. Stop and think first. I mean, obviously, if things are exploding and burning and falling down around you, you need to run. But think while you run. But think. When people get lost in the woods, a lot of the time they panic. They take off in what I call a blind lateral panic.
Which is usually, they consider it to be the easiest direction.
Yeah, just whatever direction, they pick one and they run in that direction. Before you do that, sit down, stop, think, clear your head for a minute. Don't panic. You're not dead. If you're lost, you're not dead. And that's a lot of situations. I mean, if a tsunami's coming, I'm going to panic. I'm going to run like hell. But stop and think. The best thing you can do is clear your head and try to develop a plan and start acting on that plan instead of just acting out of reaction.
And and one of the best ways to prepare for a situation is in training, because the amount of training that you have, it will help you at the beginning of a situation. If you take somebody, we'll just take a medical injury. If Chris loses an arm, if I have a EMT medic that's been doing it for 15 years, he's like, hey brother, you're okay. He's got it. He has seen it before. If you take somebody that has never seen a drop of blood and somebody loses an arm, they'll probably faint first of all. But if they don't, the panic just sets in. So, training is one of those things that really elevates you in a situation that can be difficult. Yeah,
absolutely. Training for everything too, from medical skills all the way through firearms and tactics and whatnot. Because it exposes you to stress, these trainings do, and that stress will inoculate you. There is a thing called stress inoculation. They do it in boot camp every day. So you can inoculate yourself to stress by inducing stress in times when it's not a crisis.
So hope that one helps. You're up.
All right, Gina's asking, what news sources do you follow? I'd like to find good national and world news sources. Most of my news comes from Twitter. I follow a number of sources all over the world, and many of them are biased, but I know that going in, but they will pull things up and that I can then research and see if I can find confirmation elsewhere. National news here in this country and most of the world is pretty pathetic. But they all do have their value in that they will show you stuff. You just got to know that whatever they're saying to you is propaganda. You're getting their spin, their view. So, you can watch CNN, you know what you're getting there. You can watch Fox News, you know what you're getting there. You can go to RT, you know what you're getting there. One of my favorite websites personally is Zero Hedge. I go to Zero Hedge a lot, and then I follow a number of Twitter feeds to pick up on things. Because honestly, Twitter, you will learn that something's happening 10 times faster on Twitter than you will ever learn it from the national news.
And the best way to learn or to use Twitter is to figure out what hashtags people are using quickly. I'm going to ask Nikki a question here. Nikki, who was that guy that came to UF a year or so ago?
Oh.
Far extremist.
Yeah, I know the guy. Can't remember.
I don't know. We had a guy come in. What was his name? Held a meeting here at the University of Florida, and it was one of those things where police departments, fire departments, everybody was ready for
riots
to break out, and it didn't, which was a fantastic thing. But like watching it on Twitter, you could see pictures live that people were taking.
Video.
You could see exactly what was going on. So it was a great way to get constant information. As far as local stuff goes, Scanners can work well.
Yep,
Also,
absolutely.
to be able to key right in on
Spencer.
Richard Spencer.
Richard Spencer. I
Thank
knew
you.
that's all right. Yeah.
But scanners are a great way also of getting
And scanner apps, because then you
Scanner-
can get
and scanner
national
apps,
things like
yes.
all of us here use a scanner app on our phones
and good scanner app.
scanner app, and you can set a threshold. So mine's 5,000 people. So if more than 5,000 people listen to any channel on scanner app,
Yeah.
I get an alert
Nationwide.
that, hey, there's 15,000 people listening to Chicago PD right now, and I'll pull it up and see what's going on. And for the Twitter stuff, I know it's hard to find those. If you want to follow me on Twitter, just look up The Angry American. You can follow my Twitter, and I retweet stuff all the time that I see. You'll start seeing who I watch, and you can follow those people yourselves and make up your own minds.
So I mean, those are kind of some ways to get some intel worldwide.
Twitter,
Twitter.
just, we live.
BBC isn't bad.
Which one?
BBC.
BBC. Well,
I'm saying it's
they're-
not bad.
they're not
if
bad.
you're looking for
They're not bad.
that sector of the
But Twitter's,
of the world.
because like you were saying earlier, people on the ground are telling you what's
Right.
happening. You'll learn stuff so much faster. It's just the world we live in now. The news cycle today is as reactive as every other segment of our society, from law enforcement and first responders to the media. Someone has to tell them there's something going on.
Yeah.
Before they can react to it. So by following all these Twitter feeds, I mean, you can follow people all over the world. You will find out when things are happening immediately, and you just build that who you follow and filter out some.
Yep.
You'll follow some for a little while and realize, nope, this guy's no good. You just cancel following him and work on that list. But that's how I keep up on what's happening, and I find out stuff quick. And you guys, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see I'll post something. Hey, this is going on. And everybody's like, nothing on the national media, nothing on, 45 minutes later, oh, Fox is just talking about it. I mean, I've literally beaten the mainstream media by an hour on big stuff before they ever even talk about it.
So hope that answers your question there, Gina. All right, Mark kind of asks in the same exact realm. Key topics to keep an eye on that would alert you if an SHTF situation was coming likely. I mean, I got two quick.
Go for it, yeah.
The first one, we always like to overlook the weather. Weather channel, weather apps on your phone.
Yeah. Weather radios.
Weather radios, they can pop up, from nowhere. If you're talking tornadoes, earthquakes, things like that, it's one way that it can give you an intel of what might be coming. The second one would be the stock market. If there's a huge drop, huge, I'm talking huge drop. Now, every analyst on CNBC is going to want to talk about, there's a depression coming, there's a recession coming, there's a drip, there's everything that might cause panic, because that's what makes news exciting. But watching trends and stuff in the stock market can lead to that as well, because people are attached to their money.
Yep.
And when that is affected, they panic. And panic is what can lead to situations.
Yeah, the other stuff that the potentials for SHTF events, the triggers, they're going to be hard to spot, guys. And we won't know until they happen, some of them, I'll predict now that the 2020 election cycle is going to be potential for some triggers. There's going to probably be some violence. I don't care who wins. Yeah. There's going to be some violence around that time. Plan accordingly. Stay away from crowds, that sort of stuff. But, we can't predict or even guess where the next, Virginia Beach thing might happen or a bombing could happen or anything like that. You just can't predict those things. But staying in tune to, again, Twitter, I know I brought it up before, but it is such a valuable tool right now in society as we have it, that it's hard to ignore that thing. Again, I check it throughout the day, and I get alerts from a number of people that I follow when they post. And these are guys that are in the intel business. There's certain ones out there that focus on intel, and so you can get news out of them from Indonesia or Iran or Russia or China or America or South America. I mean, these guys follow stuff all over the globe, and they're really quick about putting it out.
So I hope that one helps.
This one's for you.
I wish I would have never made this video.
No, I'm glad you did.
I know.
Here's.
All right. So I didn't. Sorry. David asks. I keep seeing John showcase his Pocket Survival Kit. Having a hard time finding it on Signal. Sorry. Pocket Signal Kit. Having a hard time finding it online. Where can I get one? Not available anymore, or is there another option? Okay. I have a Pocket Signal Kit. I guess you would call it. I bought this thing 6, 7, 8 years ago. from a company called Tarinco. Tarinco is no longer in business. The thing is it stays in my kit because it's a great piece
awesome
of gear. And Chris and I work really hard to show you guys exactly what we use, and it's not a fluff and stuff to make a video.
No.
So when you see like my Get Home bag, it's always in there.
Yeah.
So that's why David has seen it in videos. But it's a small kit that has a signal mirror. It's got IR panels. It's
got a number of things.
Cool little pack.
But they don't make them no more.
They don't make them anymore.
However, I am going to get it remade.
Yeah.
I have already contacted a manufacturer. I just have to get John to give me his
So,
kit for
so
the
it's
weekend.
something that you might be seeing here.
We'll have it for
in
sale
the future.
in the future. But we are going to make it. It is coming.
So I'm sorry, I'll like blur it out from now on.
Yeah, put some blurry spot on it.
Blur it out. You know. But it is a fantastic piece of kit. I wish they still made them, but they don't. But you know, we're looking at some other options.
Ashley and Clint say hi. Hey
Howdy,
guys,
howdy.
thanks for tuning in.
Ooh. All right. Do you recommend the Garmin InReach Explorer? Yes, Thomas. Yes, 100%. I carry the Garmin InReach Mini, the small one. I clip it to my backpack. It allows me, what it is the small one is really just a transmitter, okay? You can hit the SOS button and signal for help if you ever needed to. You can send a couple pre-recorded text messages. It's like the size of like an old pager, okay, with a little antenna on it. I love the thing. I would never get rid of it. Monthly bills run from like $19 to like $60, depending on how many messages you want to send. But what's cool about it is you can Bluetooth it to your phone. So number one, I take my iPhone, which has a better touchscreen than any Garmin will ever
dream
make,
of having.
and I can have satellite maps, I can have topo maps, I can have everything, and use my phone as my GPS as far as navigation goes. But what I can also do is just use my phone and text message even when I don't have a signal using the satellite. So like when Chris and I are in the woods, no matter what, I know that the two of us could always reach, you know, his wife or my wife or somebody else. We can also turn it on and people can track us. They can see where we are while we're moving.
Yeah, live.
Like
they can log on and look at it.
And it's a fantastic product. I think it cannot be understated. I know they're a couple $100 to buy. It's like $20 a month. And listen, the $20 package is like, it's all you need.
Yeah.
This isn't like I pull it out just to text Chris.
No,
hey.
no.
This is, and when it gets to the point is, and the only difference is how many text messages you can send. That's what the difference is.
And the real value to that thing too, though, is the SOS. If you're backcountry, like when I was on loan, and season 6 starts tonight, guys, they carried a product called a yellow brick, and it was aptly named. It was a damn yellow brick. It was a big ass device. Did the same stuff. Okay. We could send messages, we could text back and forth, but you know, you're using satellite. Don't expect really quick turnaround on those things.
It takes a little bit.
It can take up to 8 hours. It did us anyway.
And don't listen or watch movies that use satellite phones. Nothing works inside a building.
Yeah.
You have to be outside in a blue. You have to see the sky.
You have to see the sky. Yeah. Heavy tree cover will stop a satellite phone.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they're worth it. And if you're backcountry and something happens to you, having a button that you can press and know that someone is going to hear that and help will come is pretty invaluable.
Yeah.
So
yes, I love them.
Casey asked, what compass do you all recommend? Kind of depends on what you're doing, but the old Sunto compasses, I'm a fan.
Sunto, if you want something small, Sunto Clipper.
Yep.
If you want something larger, the Sunto M series are fantastic.
What's that brass one that I'm wearing right now? I don't even have my watch on today.
I don't remember.
I have one that I'll post later that I'm currently wearing. It's a world compass. It's supposed to work anywhere on the globe. It's brass. It goes in your watch. It's a little heavy and clunky, but it's a global needle, so it should work. It's supposed to work anywhere in the world, and I'm pretty happy with that thing. It's just a different. But
for me, it's a Sunto.
And I wear the clippers too. I have those as well.
All right, Tammy, wondering about the Exotac Polystrike. It's a fantastic ferro rod. I can't say anything bad about it.
No, they're great.
I like Exotac products. I have quite a few. I have all of them. I'm not going to lie.
John's a gear snob.
But the Polystriker is a fantastic, lightweight, affordable fire starter that you can rely on. So,
and then Jim's asking, during your DIY Berkey bucket water filter video. What size bits did you use to make the holes?
All right, I went and got my calipers.
Because we couldn't remember.
Because I couldn't remember. The spigot is a 3/4 size drill bit, or just a touch under.
Yep.
And then the
Filter hole is like
filter
half
hole
inch?
is a 1/4.
No. No.
It's a little bit larger than a 1/4. Yes.
I would say 3/8 or half inch minimum.
Maybe 3/8.
What was the big one? Oh, the big one in the top bucket to get the
No.
the bottom. I mean, sorry, the bottom bucket lid. What was that hole to fit?
I didn't measure that one.
I think it was 1.25 inches.
Yeah.
I believe it was 1.25 inches. That gets the nut that holds the filter on in the top bucket through the lid of the bottom bucket.
The big hole he's talking about that goes in the lid. It doesn't really matter what size that is. It just has to fit the wing nut.
Yeah, that's it.
So those are the sizes, and I would start a little bit smaller if you got to use a knife or anything like that. But those are the sizes you're looking for.
So Brian says, I would love suggestions for reasonably priced EDC lights, preferably 18650 or two 18500 batteries. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm carrying an O-light today. This is like a $50 light, you know. This is a great light. This uses a 18650.
Yeah. And for you guys that
or
don't
two
know,
CR123s.
yeah, an 18650 is just the size of two CR123s.
So, and I use only rechargeables in it. So, and it's great. I mean, it's perfect light.
These questions are always hard because I don't know what budget is.
Yeah.
Budget.
Yeah.
Like a Surefire Tactician, you're going to talk right around the $100 or so price range. I think it's a fantastic light that can put an 18650 in it. The Surefire, or the O-Light Warriors.
Yeah, the Warrior things.
Those are fantastic lights also.
Yep.
And Streamlight. Streamlight, because you can get some Streamlights that will accept 18650s. The ProTac, in the ProTac line,
Yep.
Streamlight ProTacs, you can get them where they carry an 18650, two CR123s, or two AA batteries, one or two AA batteries. So versatile
Yep.
there. But Streamlight, fantastic company also that you get a great bang for your buck.
Yep.
So
We already answered that one.
answered that one.
So no more questions. Okay.
All right. So
wait, we got one more.
Oh, see, they just keep coming in.
Yeah. What do you consider essential items to have on your home defense AR-15? Suburban area, 10-acre property, 100 yards to tree line. So if it's a home defense rifle, you better have some sights. I say that, I know it sounds silly, but I see so many naked guns without even sights on top of them. But a light, minimum. That thing would have a light, you know. I would be running a light on it for sure, because if this is your home defense rifle, and have a good light. Go out and spend the money, buy a good quality light that can throw light 100 yards. If you've got 100 yards of tree line, you might not be able to see that far. I mean, you know, if you've got a optic that you can put on there, even better, red dot or a 1 to 6 variable, 1 to 8, something like that. That's what I would do.
Yeah, so three things. It should have an optic, it should have a light, and it should have a sling.
Yep.
Plain and simple, those three need to be on any rifle that's considered, I'm going to say a fighting rifle, a home defense rifle, or a property protection rifle. And by protection, you don't just mean two-legged ones.
Could be the four-legged things you're defending too.
You know, so if you're talking 10 acres, 10 acres can be a decent shot, you know, depending on where it is, and also if you're in a neighborhood or whatever. But 10 acres can be a good shot. And, you know, I would say if you're saying out to 100 yards, I would definitely say a low power variable optic is what I would have on there. A 1 to 4, 1 to 6, 1 to 8, like Chris said.
Yeah.
Because you might have something where it's just a small coyote that's been eating your chickens or something like that, and you need to make a small shot at that distance.
Yeah, it is.
With a red dot, it can be difficult. You want to make sure you take care of it humanely and get rid of that predator as well. So, you know, having some magnification can make a huge difference. But I definitely, you know, you have to have a light. You have to have an optic. You have to have a sling. So,
absolutely. And if you can't afford the optic, you know, if budget's an issue, get the light first.
Get the light first.
Slings are cheap.
Yep.
Save your money for the optic.
Yeah.
You can always run irons. They still work.
They do. They still work. All right, last one here, or next one.
Yeah, so after a WORL, or the end of the world as we know it, when the neighbors come knocking that are not in our group, how do we handle food distribution or the lack of it? Well, that's a very personal and moral question.
Yep.
It's going to come down to your morals, really. You can be an asset to your community, or you can be a liability to your community.
Yep.
You don't want to be the guy whose kids are running around the yard fat and happy when the neighbors are starving, you know. But again, everything I take out of my pantry and give away, I just took food out of my family's mouths, literally.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's one you're going to have to decide on, you know. And two, and how big a potential threat could these folks be? You also don't want to be the guy that gives away food and then they're back tomorrow and the next day.
You become the charity house.
Yeah. You know, there is a fine line, but, you know, that's everyone's going to have to make that decision. You're going to be faced with it.
I think preparation also comes in beforehand.
Yeah. If you plan to have, this is my giveaways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do the same thing. I have stuff designed the same way.
If you prepare for that ahead of time, and like Chris said, you have something set aside that you do not account for in your preps. It's got to be set aside. It's not like I have 6 months worth of preps including it. No. You have 5 months of preps and a month that's not counted for. You know, that's one way you can really handle this. And it's things like, I have some elderly people, as Chris knows, that lives around me. You know, I got an 85-year-old lady that lives next to me. You wouldn't think she's 85, but she is. But like, I know she has no flashlights or anything.
Yeah.
So like the power goes out. So I literally have a box of supplies that I can go next door to her and say, you got a flashlight, you got a candle? No. Like, here you go.
Yep.
And it's not like, well, babe, we don't have a light now. You know, this wasn't accounted for. I can give it to her. She's better off, you know, and I check on her, you know, when storms come and things like that. But I have supplies set aside that I can give away. I can be a help and a benefit to those around me to make my community stronger. But I also know we're not going to be sitting in the dark, you know. So that preparation also really comes into play.
There's one more side to this question too, and this was very common during the Great Depression, which was if people come to the gate asking for a meal, say, yeah, I can do that for you, but I'm going to need you to come cut a cord of wood for me today, or not a cord, but you know, I'm going to need you to come do this, split those logs, and I'll go in and fix you something to eat. Do some work. This is very common during the Great Depression. People would literally work for a meal. You can do the same thing then, you know. I mean, you can tell them, look, I have a little bit of stuff. I need some help around here. You want to come give me a hand today? I'll feed you and your family tonight. Definitely something to consider, and two, it will deflect a little bit away. Because when that guy says, well, no, I'm not willing to work for my food, then okay, I gave you the option, guy. You know, I mean, I tried to help out. So
and that kind of leads into also bartering. So the last two issues that we've done in the Survival Dispatch Insider, which we'll leave a link to, you know, this is the PDF magazine that we do every single month that covers one survival topic. And kind of like what Chris was saying, I grabbed these because we have them right there. But you know, it comes to bartering. They might not have food, but they might have something else that you need that you can make a trade for, and it's not a handout at that point. It is a trade that, you know, each party got something that they were in need of.
Well, and two, that's an important thing to consider is making sure that the other side, the guy that came to you hat in hand asking for food for his family, that he leaves with his dignity as well, if you can do that. You don't want to offend this guy because, like I said, he could then become a threat to you. He could be like, well, we know they've got it and they don't want to share, and, you know, we're hungry, and all right, let's just go over there tomorrow night and get them, you know. You know, there's a couple ways to do it. Hey, what do you got you could trade? You get anything? You got this? You got that? You rattle off a list of stuff, or come work for the day, and I'll give your whole family a meal. You know, you work today, I'll feed your family tonight. It might be a bowl of beans and rice, but it's more beans and rice than you would have had. So, you know, definitely try to tread lightly. You don't want to make enemies in this process. So,
all right, next one.
But
yeah, if you got any more information or any more questions with regards to bartering, feel free to check out the Insider. It's over 150 pages.
We put a lot of work into that.
In those two articles. So go ahead.
So Clint is asking, and this is a tough one here. Is it wise to store long-term food preps in non-climate controlled buildings? Are there effects on nutritional value of food when temps go from freezing in winter to blistering hot in summer? Does the temp swing affect how long foods will last?
Let's start with the bottom one. Temperature. Does it affect how long food lasts?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Every manufacturer is going to tell you to store it between a certain temperature range. Freeze-dried foods, obviously, dehydrated foods, are not as susceptible to this. Canned foods, you'll have serious problems. Like I stored a bunch of food for a while in a Connex when I was in North Carolina because I just didn't have anywhere else to put it. And I lost a ton of it because it would, like you said, it froze in the winter, and in the summer thaws, we lost lots of food. but I just didn't have anywhere to put it. I didn't have a choice. So yeah, anything that's not dry, be it freeze-dried, dehydrated, whatever, dry beans, dry rice, needs to be really environmentally controlled. That's going to be a problem if you try to store it any other way. You know, canned food will last far in excess of its expiration dates, but go by your expiration dates.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you not to. But the climate they're kept in, the temperatures they're kept at, even MRE, I mean MRE, same thing. You know, they're to be kept at room temperature. It does affect the storage.
Yeah, and you can definitely see the food coloring start to change.
Yeah, texture will change.
Texture will change. Like green beans will start to become yellow.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. Or brown.
Or brown, you know. So you'll start to see, you know, and what's going to happen is they're going to start to lose their taste, lose their texture,
and they'll lose some nutritional value.
Lose some of their nutritional value. But you know, it's borderline the same when we talk about medication. It's not like, same with milk. I lived on a dairy for 17 years. I know what happens. The cow doesn't tell you when the milk expires. It's good the day after. You sniff it. If it's not smelling, you're good to drink. If there's not chunks, drink it. If there's chunks, strain it.
Yeah, strain
it. But it's one of those things where medication, same with food, they're just going to start to lose some of their effectiveness.
Yes.
That's it. Nutritional value, medicinal value, but they're still,
you can still use it.
Still use it. You might have to do a little bit more.
When you're talking about this, you can start titrating. Google the term. You'll see what you can do there on medicines. So.
I don't think did I miss anything?
No, that was it. We got it, I think. So.
Sorry. Casey asked, do either of you have a preference between twisted versus braided tarred bank line?
I haven't ever used the braided. I've only ever used the twisted, and it's always worked fine for me. That's what I keep around.
Theoretically, braided is supposed to be a little bit tougher due to the fact that the strands are actually braided. It really depends on what you want to do with it. So twisted line, you can kind of just take the individual pieces and just pull it apart and have thinner pieces if that's what you're looking for. Quasi, hey, you carry 550 cord, you can take the inner strands out, you have more cordage. Braided line,
you're not going to do that with. You're not.
If you got time, you can use your teeth, and, but it's going to be really hard. No. But it's going to be a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger as far as tensile strength goes. But what it'll also do is it'll keep from unraveling if you use it.
I like the twisted stuff if I'm having to wrap something. Like if, say, I'm going to make an improvised spear. I've always found that the twisted, because of the way the twists are, it lays together better. They kind of lock in. I prefer the twisted for that kind of stuff, whereas the braided will slide. And my personal experience, 550 cord is horrible for that. That stuff wants to slide all over the place. Yeah. The twisted ones will actually lock to each other. So.
All right.
And actually asked survival food you like best.
I'm going to go with, this is like dehydrated food?
Well, survival food. I mean, dehydrated, freeze-dried?
All right, dehydrated.
Dehydrated?
Dehydrated. You know, freeze-dried, dehydrated, I kind of put them in the same category. Do I have MRE stored up? Do I have canned food, dried stuff? Yes. But dehydrated, I know what I'm getting. It's lighter weight. I can usually carry more of it. It's usually in a smaller package overall.
And it packs higher calorie count by volume.
Yeah.
So
that's what I would say if you.
I'm in the same boat. I store a lot of I have a freeze dry at home. We make our own stuff. We did have a tragic freeze dry failure over the weekend, but that's all right. First time it's ever happened. But I prefer the dried stuff. It's lighter. You can store more of it, and by volume, like I said, you take a 5-gallon bucket and fill it with tomato soup, or a 5-gallon bucket and fill it with tomato powder. There's a hell of a lot more calories in that 5 gallons of tomato powder. So that's one of the ways I.
And what I'll say is if we're talking about a long-term survival situation, I use dehydrated and freeze-dried food as let's call it the main course.
Yeah.
And then I add a bunch of what I consider calorie extenders. So instead of just like, hey, I'm gonna eat this whole thing of Mountain House, you eat half of it, Chris would eat half of it. Yep. So he and I only had one Mountain House for a meal, but then we added some rice and some beans. We both got full for the most part, but it was really only one meal. Instead of two separate meals, it's one meal, and then we had those calorie extenders that we added to it. And that could be lentils, it could be
quinoa,
rice,
it can be anything.
Beans,
pasta, whatever you have.
And it doesn't matter if it goes, chili mac and I wouldn't add more beans to chili mac. That'd be a rough night. But there's those extenders. This is what happens. It's
This
real
is it.
life.
This
you
is
know?
it. Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, that's
never
why I
make
don't
that
share a
mistake
tent with
again.
nobody, especially John. Sleep in a hammock for a reason.
But guys,
Airflow.
you know, this is our Q&A. This is what we do. This is how we are. And I appreciate all of the great questions that you guys
Yeah,
asked.
this is awesome. You guys piled in this time and asked a ton of questions. This is, you know, we do these. We need to do them more often. We know that. Don't tell us.
But hey, we're 3 weeks straight.
Yeah, we're 3 weeks straight. So
I've only been here 3 weeks. He's been here 1 week, but that's okay. No, I'm not counting.
obviously he's
at all.
not counting.
So, but guys, make sure you also will add a link to check out the Survival Dispatch Insider. It's a fantastic community and resource of things that we put together.
The work that goes into this, guys, and look, here's a couple different episodes or issues. This is plane crash. Here's bartering.
Hunting, fishing, trapping.
A ton of work goes into these. This isn't just me and John sitting down and hammering out articles and me and him, you're getting our opinion. We have 17 writers that write this stuff. We have awesome graphics people that put a lot of work into this. This is as highly produced as Recoil magazine. It really is. But this is better than Recoil because there's no damn ads in it. This is all information, every page of it. No ads. You know, you pay a small subscription monthly fee. You get access to this. You get access to the private Facebook pages as well. We also do Facebook Lives just for members. So, you know, check it out. It's a small investment. I mean, you know, like I said, one copy of Recoil magazine is what, $9.95. So this is the same thing. And you have a lot more stuff here. We have tons of stuff on the website, resources for preparedness and prepping and all kinds of things that you have access to when you're a member of SDI.
Yeah, and the thing that Chris and I kind of set out, you know, when we started this project, and there's now the 18, 19 different issues, is every single issue only covers one topic. So it doesn't just float around. So if you're looking for something, you know, like bartering, you go straight to the bartering issue, and that's where the information is going to be found. And you get a 14-day free trial. You can check out our entire backlog, so you can go check out all the insiders that we've already done, and then be a part of our insider Facebook private group, and then get all the tools that we have on our website as well. So go check it out if you haven't already. We thank each and every one of you guys that left questions for us today, and we'll be here next week.
Till next time, guys.
Oh, P.S. If you guys are at Blade Show, I will be there on Friday. So if you're at Blade Show on Friday, find me.
I won't be there.
I'll have some patches for you.
But
See
I
you
am
guys.
coming to LA soon.